In this video, we will see different approaches to swap two numbers. This is the most asked interview question for fresher, but many freshers are not able to write code for this. First, we'll see what is meant by swapping. Swapping means exchanging of one thing for another. Now to understand this, we'll see with help of examples. Suppose number 1 has 10 value and number 2 has 20 value, and we need to swap these two numbers. So after swapping, the value in number 1 will become 20 and value in number 2 it will become 10. So our first approach is we can use third variable to swap these two numbers. Now to understand, again I am using the same example, number 1 and number 2. Number 1 has 10 value and number 2 has 20 value, and I am using another third variable, that is a temp. Now we'll see its logic. So this is the logic. We are assigning number 1 into temp, then number 2 into number 1 and temp value into number 2. So when the first line will be executed, number 1 value will be stored in temp variable. So temp will become 10. Now when we store number 2 value into number 1, so value of number 1 it becomes 20. So when we store number 2 into number 1, so number 1 value will become 20, and now at last we need to store temp value into number 2. So value in temp is 10. So new value in number 2 it become 10. So after swapping, you can see the value of number 1 and number 2 are interchanged. Now let's write a program for this. So to save time, I have already written program. So I have created 3 integer variable, number 1, number 2, and I am using third integer variable, that is temp. I have already assigned 10 and 20 value into number 1 and number 2. So to print these values in the console, I have used system.out.println methods, and I am applying the logic which we just discussed, and after swapping again I am printing this value. Now I am running this program. Here you can see value in number 1 is 10, value in number 2 is 20 before swapping, and after swapping these values are interchanged. So when this question is asked during interview, most of the freshers provide the same answer. Okay, they use the third variable and write this program. But when we answer like this in the interview, now interviewer's next question is, now don't use the temp variable and what will be your logic? Now that is our second approach. Now we don't need to use the third variable. So its logic is we need to add these two numbers and store it in number 1. We need to subtract 2 times number 1 minus number 2 and store it in number 2 and number 1. Now you will not understand this logic directly. Now to understand it, we will use example. Again I am using the same example. Number 1 has 10 value, number 2 has 20 value. So I have made mistake here, that is this is the number 2. Okay. Now I am adding number 1 and number 2. So 10 plus 20 it becomes 30, and this 30 I am storing it in number 1. Now our next line is we just need to subtract these two. We need to subtract number 2 from number 1. So 30 minus 20, new value it becomes 10 in number 2. Again we need to do number 1 minus number 2. So 30 minus 10, now new value in number 1 it became 20. Now here you can see values in number 1 and number 2 are interchanged. So new values in number 1 is 20 and new value in number 2 is 10. Now let's write program for this. So its program is also same. I have just updated its logic. Okay, whatever logic we just discussed, same logic I have added here. Now let's run this program and check its output. Here you can see values in number 1 and number 2 are 10 and 20. So after swapping, the values are interchanged. If you are interested to join our online programming classes, then you can call or WhatsApp on our contact number. Our contact number is provided in the description. If you are giving many interviews but you are not able to crack them, then you need to try our mock interview services. Here you will get detailed feedback on your interview. You will understand where you are going wrong in the interview. Mock interview link is provided in the description.